In this video we are reviewing the brand new DJI AVATA 360, DJI's first ever 8K 360 drone. We're going to go through everything that you need to know about this drone, but also the good and the bad in this honest review. Let's get into it. So I've been flying this drone for some time now, and you're going to see so many different videos on this DJI AVATA 360, but I want to focus on what it's been like flying this drone over this last few months, my experience with it. This is a really cool, interesting drone because of this 360 camera, but it's also not perfect. So I'm going to go through my honest thoughts and opinions about this drone. But first of all, what even is this? So 360 cameras are super cool, I use them all the time, and the market has always been dominated by Insta360. But last year we saw DJI release the Osmo 360, their first ever 360 camera. Now the DJI AVATA 2, also a really cool FPV drone, and I would say the AVATA 360, most people are going to think, well, this DJI AVATA 2 is basically this with a 360 camera attached. And as you'll see during this video, it's not as straightforward as that. It's a pretty kind of like mishmash of a few different drones into one. Now in terms of the camera, it shares similarities to the Osmo 360. So this has the same camera and sensor tech. So two 1/1.1 inch CMOS sensors, almost 1 inch sensors on this 360 drone, and it can shoot up to 8K 60 FPS. Now in terms of a 360 camera, that is super impressive, and it's great for slowing that footage down, fast moving objects. This is great to have that slow motion ability on here, but you can also bring the frames per second right down to 24 FPS for more of that cinematic look. But the AVATA 360 also shares more similarities from the Osmo 360, taking the 10-bit video quality from this into this drone. So we're not limited in terms of video quality here, just like we expect on the other DJI drone. So this has a normal color profile and the D-Log M color profile, both in 10-bit quality. And that means when you're actually shooting on this drone and you want to go and then color grade it or make adjustments to it, you're not limited there. You have the full scope that you would do on the Osmo 360, the Mini 5 Pro, the Mavic 4 Pro, the Air 3S, we're not limited there, and that's a great advantage. Now with 360 cameras, the higher the quality, the better, because it's capturing content from the top camera, and there's also a camera on the bottom pointing down, so it's capturing that full 360 view. And then when you come to export it, you're going to get a really nice 4K image. We'll talk about the image quality in a second, but it is really impressive that this is the first 360 drone with the ability to record up to 8K 60 and in that D-Log M 10-bit color profile. But that said, 360 camera drones aren't going to have that same image quality as say a Mavic 4 Pro, an Air 3S, or even that Mini 5 Pro. But something that 360 cameras and especially drones get compared to these fixed view lenses on these cinematic drones is incredible versatility and angles that you can capture with a drone like this. And that means in terms of creativity, these are simply unmatched. So with the AVATA 360, you can literally just fly that drone forwards, and it's going to capture everything in 360. So the front, left, right, back, down, all the sides, you've got all of these unlimited angles. You don't see the drone at all. All the stitching is handled automatically for you. So you can be as creative as you want. And it's why I love 360 cameras so much on the ground level. You don't have to be stressing about different angles, what moves am I going to do, the framing, do I film it horizontal or vertical? It takes all that stress away, and now you can do the same on these drones as well. So this shot here, I literally just flew that drone forwards and went down and decreased the altitude, so I'm over this mountain. And then when I actually go back to my computer or my phone, I can choose any of these angles I want. So if I want to do like a reveal shot, I can do just from adding a couple of keyframes. If I want to do a full rotation like we can on the Mavic 4 Pro or the Mini 5 Pro, I can do that in the software. I can move this angle around as much as I want. And because it's capturing everything 360, I can choose the aspect ratio afterwards. So I can get a horizontal aspect ratio like this, which is perfect for YouTube or a big TV. And then say I want to share this content as well on Instagram, like an Instagram story or a reel, all I have to do is hit one button and it will automatically change the aspect ratio now to vertical. So you have so many different creative options that you can get out of this drone. Now in terms of video quality, I've also been super impressed. Now don't think of it like, oh, this is an 8K drone drone, this is going to be better than the Mavic 4 Pro. It isn't. It's because it's a 360 camera capturing all of that content to then export in 4K. But as you can see from all of these shots here where I've been testing it in these different locations, some of them in harsh lighting, the video quality looks great. I basically use the D-Log M 10-bit on all of these different shots, and it allows me then to go and add my own LUTs to this, color grade it, and get the most amount of detail and dynamic range I possibly can do. Now, before we talk about the controller methods, if you do enjoy tech and drone content, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. I've got a lot more videos coming on the Avata 360, plus April and May are going to be super busy months, really exciting stuff that's going to be coming out then as well. So hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out. And if you do enjoy any part of this video, I would really appreciate it if you just press that like button. It's completely free. So how do we actually fly the Avata 360? Well, this is where it's great and a little bit confusing. Now, brilliantly, DJI have given us a few options in terms of how we can fly this drone. So firstly, you can actually fly this drone with the DJI RC2 controller. If you don't have this controller, this is a great controller. It has external antennas on the top of it. You have a built-in screen. It's really nice and lightweight. The screen isn't the brightest, but it does the job. And overall, this is a fantastic controller that's been out for a couple of years now, but this is compatibility with all of the other like cinematic drones like are on this shelf here. So you can fly this Avata 360 with this, which means if you just want to get a quick 360 shot, this is perfect. We can see exactly out of that camera on this screen here. I can control the drone like I would with the cinematic drones. I've got access to all of these settings, and I found for getting these quick 360 shots, or if I'm doing tracking shots, which I'll get onto, then this was my preferred method, using the controller, and I think it's fantastic that we have this compatibility. So that's a good thing, and I'll move on to the next good thing, and then we'll talk about some confusing aspects of this. Now, the second way you can fly this, as you would expect, is with FPV goggles. So you can use the DJI Motion 3 controller. So this controller here, just imagine that you are Tom Cruise in Top Gun. So you have triggers on the side of it, and then you have lots of different buttons on the top here. So now as you pull this trigger back, the drone's going to go forward. You can actually push forward and the drone's going to fly backwards. And then to maneuver the drone, you just pull back and then just turn your wrists left, right, up or down. And it works great on here. Now you can also use this with the DJI Goggles 3. So you can use it with the Goggles 3 and also the cheaper N3. If you have the Avata 2, you might already have these goggles. I prefer these because they are smaller, they're lighter. The battery is built in. It's got really nice quality screens in here as well. And then if you use this controller method, you've got these goggles on and you are completely immersed in that 360 experience, and it is fantastic. So you can go to these really cool locations, and because the drone is capturing everything 360, you get this live 360 feedback through these goggles. So as you look around in these goggles, you can look left, right, up and down, then you see that full 360 view. It doesn't end, which makes it such a cool experience. So think of good locations that you could go to just to actually experience what it's like to being in the sky. This whole 360 experience with goggles, I've said this before, this is the closest you're going to get to that feeling of actually being up there. Nothing compares to this. It is fantastic. But this is where I also said don't think of the Avata 360 as an Avata 2 with a 360 camera attached. You don't have any manual mode like you would on that Avata 2 either. Now, we spoke about that the Avata 360 is compatible with the RC2, a fantastic controller, that's great. But the Avata 360 has OcuSync 4 Plus video transmission. That's a great video transmission, the same as the Mavic 4 Pro, the Air 3S and the Mini 5 Pro. And all of those drones can use the fantastic RC Pro 2 controller. But the Avata 360 can't. Even though it has the same OcuSync 4 Plus, it's not compatible with the RC Pro 2. And I think that would be great if that can change. Again, it might do in the future, but all the time I've been testing this, that's not compatible, and I've asked the question, and it doesn't look like those options are going to come forth. Which means, say you have one of these drones here, and you've got this RC Pro 2 controller. If you take this, you're still going to have to take a separate controller as well, rather than just taking one. I hope that gets rectified. Now, with 360 cameras, it is super important not to scratch or crack these lenses, because if that happens, your 360 footage is going to be pretty much ruined. And the downside to the Osmo 360 is that if that happened, you had to send it off to get repaired. You couldn't just replace these lenses. Brilliantly, on the Avata 360, this has the option to have replaceable lenses. So you can get this kit and then you can literally swap out the lenses on this drone on the fly. It takes about a minute. They screw off, put a new one on, and you're ready to go. That is fantastic. Now, normally I leave the price of these drones to the end, but based on everything that you've seen so far and the abilities that you can do with this, I think it's really important to talk about the price, and I think you're going to be surprised. So you can get the Avata 360 with the RC2 or the DJI goggles N3 and the Motion 3 controller. Now, whichever of these you get, make sure you get the combo version, and I'll explain why. But if you already have, say, a Mini 5 Pro, an Air 3S, a Mavic 4 Pro, you probably already have this controller. So therefore, I would say go and get the goggles. You're going to get that immersive experience. You also get some of the FPV equipment. So you're just adding to your accessories that you might already have. But if I put the prices on the screen now, and I'll show you the standard and the combo versions of each one of these, I think they are absolutely fantastic. But there's also one more thing. But if you already have one of those controllers, you can pick this up as drone only for literally like £409, €459, $479. You can get the Avata 360, and then you can use your equipment you've already got. So if you've got the RC2, you don't need to go and buy this combo. You can literally just use that with this drone and then add a couple of batteries extra. Same with the FPV equipment. I think in terms of price point for the combos and the drone only option, DJI have absolutely nailed it. Now, in terms of battery life, this Avata 360 comes with a new battery again, and this is a 2700 milliamp battery. And this gives you about 23 minutes of flight time. Now for FPV, that is pretty good, but for just flying this drone in 360, it's not the best. And I've been getting around about 16 to 17 minutes of flight time. So this is why I was saying you want to make sure, if you can, to get the combo version, or at least add a couple of batteries extra. So this charges 3 batteries simultaneously if you're using a fast charger. You get all 3 charged in about 100 minutes when you're using that fast charger. I'd say I think it's 60 watts or higher. But yeah, don't just have one battery. If you're getting this drone and you're going to take one battery out and get about 16, 17 minutes of flight time, and you've got to wait for it to charge, that's not a good experience. Now, in terms of safety, you've got omnidirectional centering built in, as well as LiDAR, which means that this drone, when it's flying normally, if you've got the sensors turned on, it shouldn't crash because of this built-in protection. But what's also great is that I went to this really cool, like, abandoned building, probably sketchy place. But having integrated propellers on here, I think, is a fantastic advantage, because in this location here, rather than worrying about the propellers hitting everything, I could fly through these tight spaces and these gaps in this really great location. And because it's 360, I was able to then go in afterwards and choose the angle I wanted, whether it's going up these stairs here out of the building just nice and straight and cinematic, or I could switch it and go for like a rear view, so it's a quick pan here and then out of that building. I've got that full functionality. But you can also see, filming in low light indoors in this location, the video quality is still fantastic. Now, one thing I like to do with my drones is use the active track function, and we can do that same again on the Avata 360. So I can drag a box around, let's say, a car, and then on the screen here, I get this clock face where I can choose to have that drone positioned at different angles. It's really great on all of these drones, and it works just the same on the Avata 360. I've also got spotlight mode, so I can drag a box around an object, a person, maybe a bike, could be you in the car again. And then this way you actually fly the drone, and the drone's going to handle all the camera movements for you. But it also has a new mode called Spotlight Free. And this is brilliant as well. It means that you can now get even closer, more like cinematic Hollywood style shots without having to worry about that 360 framing. So you literally just fly the drone like you would in spotlight mode, and the drone will then automatically now lock onto that target. So this example here is the car, and then it's going to capture all of those different 360 angles for you. You get this extra view on the screen. So rather than just filming this drone in normal 360 mode, and then afterwards I can choose that framing myself, it's doing all of this for you. It's completely handling everything automatically. So Spotlight Free, I think, is brilliant and a really good new feature. So normally when the drone is actually in flight, it's going to be in 360 mode. So you've got the camera on the top and the camera on the bottom, but you can press one button and then the camera is going to rotate, and now you've got the camera at the front. So this is single lens mode. So therefore you can actually use the drone as a single lens FPV drone. So I find this works best when you're using the Motion Controller 3 and the Goggles 3, because now I can fly this just like I would that Avata 2 with the Motion Controller. Now you can also use that with the RC2 controller, but because it's FPV mode, I find that style works best with the FPV equipment. So if you don't want to do any framing afterwards, you don't want to mess around with it, you just want to have fun in the standard single lens mode, then use that. And if you don't want to, you press that button and it will automatically switch to 360 mode, and now you're capturing full 360. And just to let you know, for takeoff and landing, the camera actually switches automatically in that mode because it's got these like little feet on the bottom of it. And this protects that lens actually touching anything on the ground. And then once the drone's actually hovering in the air, it will automatically switch to that 360 mode. Now photos are really cool as well. So 120 megapixel photos, but because we're capturing full 360, you can then take one shot. So this shot here, I took one picture and then I was able to create different angles out of that picture. I could drag my finger around on the mouse or my phone and then choose different aspect ratios all from one shot. So if you like taking pictures, again, it's not going to match the quality of these cinematic drones, but it just gives you so much more creativity. Now in terms of size and weight, you can see the Avata 360 is a lot bigger than the Avata 2. It actually weighs 455 grams. This means it's going to be good for wind resistance. It has a level 5 wind resistance, and I've found in high strong wind areas it's handled it absolutely fine. Now the downside isn't particularly the weight, it is more so that it doesn't fall down, and because it is a big drone, it means unless you get the fly more combo with that dedicated bag, it is quite difficult to travel with this, putting it in like a standard camera backpack. I've had to modify the backpack I use just to be able to get this in, so it's more of an effort to take it with you because it's just not as convenient as say these other foldable drones. So who is the Avata 360 for? Well, I think this is for somebody who wants to be able to capture 360 content in the air, but also get a lot of fun and that immersive experience. If you use this drone solely with the RC2 controller, then you are getting that 360 aspect ratio that you can't get with these cinematic drones, but you are not getting that full 360 experience. I really enjoy going to these locations just to put these goggles on, to like basically look around going, wow, I'm over the sea, or I'm over the desert in this location. It is really cool to be able to just do that. And that's what I enjoy the most about this, getting that live preview. But if you're looking for your first ever drone, I wouldn't say get this instead of like one of these drones. I would still recommend something like a Mini 5 Pro or an Air 3S, and then get this as your second fun drone. This is so much fun. The ability that I can capture all of these different angles, I've got that immersive experience, but I can then also use FPV equipment and fly it with the Motion Controller 3. So it is really versatile and a lot of fun. But like I mentioned, if you already have the RC2 controller or the FPV equipment, the ability that you can pick this drone up for less than $500, I think that is a steal. So once you've actually captured this content, how do you then go and edit it? And this is what puts a lot of people off. And I agree, years ago, editing 360 footage was an absolute time consumer, it just took forever, and it never really looked that good. 360 cameras have come so far now that the quality looks brilliant, and it is a lot more straightforward to do. Now, I don't use 101 different keyframes. I use these 360 drones like I do the cameras, really nice and simplistic. So just like you would with the Osmo 360, you can edit this camera footage on your phone, on the DJI app, super straightforward to do, or you can use it on the desktop. I prefer that because I have that bigger screen, but it depends which works best for you. So for instance, in this location, so I'm going through this building. So all I have to do is I'm just going to drag my finger on this and actually choose that starting position. Once I've got it lined up, so I think, yeah, this is pretty good, I just hit this keyframe button once. And now I'm going to hit play and the drone is just going to fly through this building. But as the drone is flying through, I want to actually rotate this camera to give a different aspect. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to fly to the other side of this building where the door is. And I'm now going to get my finger and just drag that around. So now it's looking the opposite way and hit a keyframe. That is it. Now if I go back to the start and hit play, it does that automatically for you. Simple as that, like 2 moves. Yes, you can get really complex and you can do rotations and lots of other things. But if you're just starting out with this and you want to get really quick, easy results, just do it in that method. Or you can actually click auto edit and it's going to edit it automatically for you with the clips that you select. So a few options there. The main takeaway point is don't let 360 footage put you off. It is so much easier now to edit. So the Avata 360, if you want to go and check this out, you can actually pre-order it now. So I'm going to link it at the top of the description. I'm sure this will be super popular, so I'd get on this really quick. If you pre-order today, you're going to be able to get this, I believe, in like a couple of weeks. So you really don't have to wait long at all. I've got more videos coming on this over the next few days. So if you hit that subscribe button, it's completely free. And if you hit the notification bell, you're going to get alerted every time I post a new video on this. I really appreciate you watching to the end. If you did, give me a fist pump. I'll know you've watched to the end and I'll give you one of those back as well. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. If you've got any more questions on the Avata 360, let me know in the comments down below as well. And I'll see you in the next one.